Hello, and welcome to Own Your Retirement. My name is Albert Lalonde from Kaizen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 586-752-7008 or visit us online at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. And while on my website, click on the podcast page to check out our past shows and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Okay. As a financial services professional, one of the most important tasks that I have is helping my clients build enough dependable retirement income so that they can maintain their preferred lifestyle and have the kind of retirement, well, they've always dreamed about. So, during today's show, we'll discuss retirement income and how much you're likely to need. But before we get rolling, let me introduce my co-host, Tony Shore, who's already, I believe, planning his first fishing trip of the year. Hey, Tony, how we doing, buddy?
Well, hey, spring is in the air, Albert, right?
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
how about this weather, right?
Loving it. Certainly beats last week when you guys got like 10
Oh,
inches.
yeah, crazy. They say by this Friday, we're recording on a Tuesday. By Friday, we're supposed to hit 70 degrees and sunny. So,
Wow.
can you imagine?
Yeah, well, we just hit like low 60s
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah,
It's
we did.
wild.
We did too. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Well,
But
yeah,
anyway,
it's almost time to golf or fish, right?
you got that right. I'm
Well,
excited.
today's topic is a good one. I mean, there aren't many more things that are more important to retirement than income. Obviously, you need to know that you're going to have enough income to
Yes.
last the rest of your life before you retire, hopefully. And the only way to make sure you can do that and to have a good plan in place so you're not losing money or making expensive mistakes is to work with a financial professional like yourself, right?
Yes, yes, for sure, for sure. Let's talk about this topic and begin with a U.S. News and World Report article titled, "What is a Good Monthly Income in Retirement?" It's got some useful information. Step one, in fact, is to define what a good retirement income is for you. And it may not be as tricky a task as you think. A financial services professional cited in the article notes that most clients already have a solid idea of how much they'll need in retirement. This is because the retirement budget often closely mirrors their, well, expenses during their working years.
Hmm.
After all, no one wants a lower standard of living in retirement. Now, while some work related costs, like let's say commuting, lunches out, and work clothes disappear, retirees still have housing and utility bills to cover. Additionally, new expenses may pop up, including, well, more travel, hobbies, even more entertainment. Now, retirement spending also varies by stages. Newly retired individuals may spend more as they travel and pursue long delayed dreams. By mid retirement, expenses often decline as life settles into, let's say, a steadier rhythm. And then later in retirement, however, costs may increase again due to health care and maybe potential long term care needs, Tony.
Yeah. Well, long-term care is a big one too, isn't it? I
Mhm.
mean,
Yes.
Albert, wow. Years ago, I was convinced I could build a retirement strategy on my own. I didn't realize I would need professional help just to retire. And let's just say I'm glad I'm now working with a financial professional. I mean, this is what you do day in and day out and help people with, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's
Yeah.
a smart thing that you are working with someone
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a financial professional because, it just helps to guide you where you need to be. In fact, the article highlights that the average retiree and how much they need to spend, well, it all varies. And looking at the national average can provide useful insights for planning. So, the Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks consumer spending through its consumer expenditure surveys. And in 2023, the most recent data available, U.S. households led by someone 65 or older spent an average of a little more than $64,000 annually. Now,
Wow.
however, most retiree households spend significantly less. Now, according to the 2022 Spending in Retirement Survey by the Employee Benefit Research Institute, they surveyed nearly, let's say, 2,000 American retirees aged 62 to 75, and the vast majority reported spending less than $4,000 per month, Tony.
Wow. Well, and you've talked about this before, Albert. Spending less in retirement can often come organically because you aren't filling up the car for that daily commute. You're not having to
Yes.
buy work clothes or going out to lunch every day with coworkers, things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can now predict more of what your expenses are and what you're saving for like your vacations and your
Yeah.
trips. So big difference. And then next we have to consider where many people get the retirement income. That plays a big role.
Hmm.
Once you have an estimate of your retirement expenses, the next step is determining, well, where that money will come from. Now, a financial service professional can offer guidance, and one expert cited again in the article emphasizes their goal of helping clients start each month, well, with $5,000 in the bank. Now, according to the article, retirees typically draw income from five primary sources: one, Social Security; investment portfolios; annuities; part time employment; and pensions if you're still lucky. And then
Sure.
additional income may come from, let's say, rental properties or by assessing home equity through, let's say, a reverse mortgage. Now, while traditional pensions have become increasingly rare today, Social Security still remains a critical source of income for a lot of retirees. In fact, nearly 90% of American age 65 and older receive Social Security benefits. And according to the Social Security Administration, as of December 2024, the average monthly benefit for retired workers was $1,975. That's equating to an annual income of $23,700. While helpful, this amount, as you know, may not be sufficient to sustain a household.
Hmm. So, is that why a lot of people plan on working a little bit or maybe part time during retirement?
Sure. I mean, listen, relying on part time work to, let's say, bridge the gap may seem like a viable option, but it's not always a long term solution. Remember that. Many retirees assume they can continue working, let's say, indefinitely, but at some point, physical limitations may make that impossible. So, this is why saving for retirement during your working years is so essential. Contributing to a 401k, an IRA, or other retirement accounts, well, it can help supplement Social Security and provide that financial stability, ensuring you have enough income even after you stop working.
Wow. Okay. So that's a good point. I think a lot of people think they'll stop working because they want to, but there's a chance that our health may make the choice for us or layoffs. Sometimes we don't choose when we retire, right?
Definitely. And, there's an old joke that says that you want to make God laugh, tell him you have a plan. Life happens. It's just the way it goes. So, anyways, finally, the article emphasizes the importance of turning savings into a steady cash flow. Withdrawing money as needed may seem straightforward, but retirees must carefully manage distributions to avoid depleting their savings too soon. It's a common guideline is that 4% rule, which suggests withdrawing 4% of savings annually. So, for example, a retiree with, let's say, $1 million nest egg could generate $40,000 per year, while someone with $500,000 in savings would have an annual income of $20,000. However, the article points out that this rule doesn't account for taxes. An important factor in retirement income planning. It's not what you make that's important. It's really what you can spend, Tony. Okay.
Yeah.
And many retirees hold savings in, let's say, traditional 401k plans and IRAs where withdrawals are taxable. And additionally, at age 73, retirees must then begin taking required minimum distributions, which again can increase their tax liability.
RMDs. Yeah.
Yes. One strategy to reduce, let's say, this future taxes, well, is to convert some of the funds from a traditional account to maybe a Roth IRA before retirement. Now, Roth withdrawals are tax free. The conversion itself is taxable, but requiring careful planning so you can minimize that impact on it.
Sure. Yeah, Roths can be a great thing. I know you've talked a lot about Roth conversions in the past, but all of this just leads me to want to point out to our listeners and viewers out there, you've got to work with a financial professional. You don't want to make mistakes. You could make really costly mistakes doing things like rollovers or things like that. You need a financial pro in your corner. So how can our listeners get a hold of you, Albert?
Yeah, listeners, you can visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com. That's Kaizen, Kaizen. Or you can call my office at 586-752-7008 and discuss how we can answer your questions and address your concerns about retirement income, your financial strategy, or any other parts of your financial strategy.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, thanks, Albert. And we're talking about creating that income during retirement and planning that out. And you talked about the right income for you. Everybody's situation is different. You
Mhm.
mentioned how much the average retiree spends, where that income often comes from, using savings and cash flow. You even mentioned you have to take into consideration taxes. So, good conversation so far. What's next?
Well, let's continue our conversation about retirement finances by looking at investing and saving now. So, another US News and World article titled How to Start Investing and Saving for Retirement with Little Money. It really jumped out at me because it's packed with a lot of good info. So, many Americans have long assumed that investing in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds requires a substantial bank account. While that may hold true for, let's say, high price stocks at the top of the S&P 500, it doesn't mean investing is out of reach for those with limited funds. In fact, take the Magnificent Seven, for example: Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, platforms, Microsoft, Nvidia, and let's say Tesla. These companies boast $1 trillion market capitalization, making them seem, well, unattainable for small investors. However, the article highlights that anyone can start investing regardless of their financial situation. There's no rule requiring a minimum investment of $1,000 to enter the market. So, for those with limited cash flow, here are some steps to begin investing and build some long term wealth. First, start small and build momentum. Then, review of your finances is always important on a regular basis. And then take advantage of workplace retirement plans. If they're matching you, you've got to get that free money. And then use micro investing apps to buy fractional shares if, again, you can't afford to buy whole shares. Consider even real estate investment trusts, or what we call REITs. Leverage dollar cost averaging, so you're buying things at all different costs. And then prioritize saving by paying yourself first. And then lastly, educate yourself about the stock market. That's always good for everyone, education. So by following these strategies, even investors with modest resources, well, they can begin growing their wealth and working towards a financial security, Tony.
Yeah. It's that old expression that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
true.
And you got to build momentum from there.
Yes. And in fact, that's a perfect segue to the article's next key point. When investing, start small and build momentum. If you're living paycheck to paycheck or struggling to save, don't stretch yourself too thin when starting your investment journey. Even if setting aside money seems difficult, consistency is the key here. Small contributions can grow significantly over time. And while the general rule of thumb is to save 20% of your income, that may not be realistic for everyone. So if 20% feels overwhelming, well, start with 10%, $20 a week, or whatever amount fits your budget. Now, to begin, consider opening, let's say, a high yield savings account that offers 4 to 5, let's say, percent interest, rather than a traditional savings account with less than 1% annual percentage yield. And remember, investing comes with both rewards and risk. If it's part of your financial strategy, it's wise to consult a financial service professional to ensure that you're making, well, informed decisions that align with your goals.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. I mean, when in doubt, work with somebody like yourself. There's rarely a downside to working with somebody who can give you data driven information and emotion free advice and insights, right?
Well, especially in today's times right now, Tony, we need a lot of emotion free advice. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, you do.
Now, the next article emphasizes the importance of thoroughly reviewing your finances. Before setting investment goals, it's wise to start by assessing your current financial situation. Know your numbers, know where you're at now. That's what I always tell everybody. And ideally, with the guidance of a financial service professional, you can make great progress. Now, take a close close look at how much of your income goes towards your fixed expenses like rent or taxes, car payments, or even student loans versus discretionary spending on food, entertainment, and shopping. Now, once you have a clear picture, outline a rough plan for how much you'd like to invest over the next year. Establish a household budget, prioritize essential expenses, and set up automatic contributions to your savings and investment accounts so that you stay on track.
Yeah, I'm so glad that all my accounts, my contributions to savings and investment accounts are all automated. It just makes everything so much easier. And it's money I don't miss because it
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
right into these accounts and it's not sitting in my checking, right?
Right. Well, the old adage that says, out of sight, out of mind. And that's
Yep.
truly what you do with that. You don't think about it. You just let it do it by itself
Yeah.
automatically. And then you got to focus on maximizing that contribution, Tony, with to your company retirement accounts. Prioritizing tax advantage accounts is crucial because they offer significant benefits. Now, though early withdrawals come with restrictions, additionally, investing in taxable investment accounts can provide more flexibility for accessing funds when needed. In fact, if your employer offers, let's say, a 401k match, take full advantage of it. Matching policies vary, but many companies match $1 for every $1 contributed up to generally 3% of your salary, then 50 cents on the dollar for the next 2%. This is essentially free money that can significantly boost your retirement savings.
Well, yeah, you've got to take advantage of the company match, and you
Mm.
have to put in to your 401k at least as much as you need to get the full match because otherwise you're just leaving money on the table, right? That's free money
Yes.
basically.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I don't care if you have to find the nickels and dimes underneath your couch cushion. You get that money in every
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the article next recommends leveraging dollar cost averaging. It's a strategy that makes investing more accessible through small, consistent contributions. With dollar cost averaging, you invest a set amount at regular intervals, whether it's weekly, monthly, or even daily, regardless of market fluctuations. So many investment platforms now support this approach and allowing you to purchase fractional shares of stocks, mutual funds, or even other assets with ease. Now, the most challenging step, though, is simply getting started. Once you do, though, those steady contributions can grow into substantial wealth over time.
Yeah. And while platforms and apps are all well and good, I'd still only invest with the help of a financial professional. I mean,
Of course, of course.
I'm too serious about my money and don't want to make costly mistakes that could cost my retirement, right?
Yeah, I mean, collaborating with a financial service professional to build, let's say, a solid understanding of your portfolio and the stock market. That's just wise. Educating yourself is just very important. Stay informed by reading financial news, listening to podcasts like ours, and following market trends that could, well, impact your investments. The stock market is a complex ecosystem, and having a clear strategy is essential. Now, once you've learned how to evaluate stocks and plan trades, consider practicing with the test trading account before committing real money. After refining that strategy through practice, now confidently execute your actual trade plan, but only with the assistance, again, with your financial services professional. And be mindful, too, of common investing pitfalls. The biggest being emotional decision making, like we said earlier. Avoid buying or selling stocks on an impulse. For example, don't invest in an obscure cryptocurrency just because a friend saw quick gains, and don't panic sell because the stock just because it dropped real quickly in one day, especially if your overall strategy hasn't changed in the long term. So, sticking to your plan is key to long term success, and working with a financial service professional can help you keep you disciplined, avoid costly mistakes, well, and also help navigate the market with more confidence.
Yeah. And before we go today, Albert, it ties into retirement income and saving for income. You've been mentioning investing. We've seen volatility this week in the market. And,
Mhm.
but I know your message for people out there regarding that is don't panic and
Yep.
work with a professional, right?
Well, everyone's got to remember that investing is always long term.
Yeah.
You can have your little slush fund to play for short-term trades and whatnot. And that obviously you're going to react based on what's happening, but long-term goals, you don't react on short-term news. And so
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I make my clients focus on. And
Yeah.
remember, folks, if you've just got any concerns about your income and how to set up a income program and make sure that you're tax efficient, visit my website at www.kaizenfinancialgroup.com or call my office at 586-752-7008, and we can discuss how your income can be addressed, how your financial strategy should be put together. Because remember, it is our goal to help prepare you for your retirement so you can own your retirement, folks.
All right. Well, thank you, Albert. And listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Own Your Retirement with our host, Albert Lalonde.
Take care, everybody.